All right, here we go. It is episode 37, the OG's podcast. Harry Mays, Jason Myrtetus, Michael Bradley going to join us momentarily. It's an all-request Saturday night, Harry. We're taking requests on guests.
Yeah, and you know we're open to that. If there's specific people that the people want to see us talk to, you know, like from guys from the past, maybe when we did the old radio show or whatever, there's certain guests that they really liked. You know, request them and we'll try to get them. I'd love to get Colonel on, but you know his internet stinks.
Yeah,
I know that people would love to hear from him. But
it's
Michael
always
Bradley's got good internet.
Yeah, Michael Bradley's up to date. He's not
he knows
on a
what he's
dial
doing.
up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
See, the Colonel always, like, I love the Colonel. You love the Colonel. Everybody loves him. But it becomes more work than it's worth to get him on. It's just frustrating.
The juice ain't worth the squeeze is what you're saying, right?
I mean, we got to get him in person. That's the only way to control him.
Right. Either that or you could just imitate him.
Yeah, well, we could do that,
you know, because
yeah. I need new internet. Ow, no. Rob. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. My imitations are shit right now because I got this fucking cold that won't go away. I don't know if it's COVID or not. They don't need my data, though, Harry.
No. Well, it's almost gone. I can tell you're better.
Yeah, I'm definitely feeling better. I mean, the last week it's just been dragging on and just hacking, and it's been brutal. But we're on the mend, I believe, here, just in time for the NHL regular season to begin.
Great. I'm not ready for the NHL regular season, nor the NBA regular season.
Yeah, you've got enough with golf and football with college and pro.
College football. We got college basketball starting up here in the beginning of November. Temple plays Villanova. I think their second game of the year. So I got plenty. I got enough.
Yeah. You don't need to add anything.
And we got baseball playoffs.
Yeah, how about that?
In this town.
Real quick, before we get to the baseball playoffs, and because they're in the playoffs, did you see the video of the camera walking into his remote wearing a full uniform?
I did. And it's got his name on it.
Yeah, because he does Fantasy Week.
Number 9, I think it is, the camera. Yeah. And he's got the hat. The hat looks goofy on him, number 1. And he looks like he's like out of the 60s or something, like with the way the uniform fits him. You know, remember how the uniforms used to fit those guys, like the skinnier guys, they'd be kind of a little baggy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's
baggy.
Yeah, baggy's
great. No, but let's face it. The deke has the body definition of a water seal.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the hat's too big for his little beanie head. And he walks into his remote and he's like introducing himself. Joe the camera. Nice to meet you.
How you doing?
Yeah. And they're like, why are you wearing this uniform, you dolt?
Who is this guy?
What a degenerate. I love him. But I mean, only he could pull that bullshit off.
Well,
if I walked into a remote like that working with Mikey Miss.
Oh, God. I can only imagine. But like, I saw one of the comments underneath it, and they said, coming from the guy who said the third place wild card is a waste of time. So now he's acting like he's all fired up about the Phillies. But apparently on his show, he's been ripping the fact that the third wild card is unnecessary and basically worthless.
So it's so worthless that he decided to wear a fucking uniform to work.
Right. I didn't notice if he had stirrups on, you know, like.
He probably had dress shoes on with that whole outfit.
Right.
His fence climbers.
Remember those pointy tipped shoes that he?
Yeah, they're fence climbers, Harry.
Yeah, you stick right into the chain link fence, right?
He is a fashion faux pas. He's the only guy I know that wear like a white dress shirt with a T-shirt underneath it that had logos on it. You could see through.
You could see right through it. Some days he would look like a busboy.
Yeah,
remember?
Yep. Yeah, he'd be bussing tables. What a beauty! But the Phillies are in, so good on them.
They are. Yeah, you know, Aaron Nola was pitching a perfect game into the 7th inning, and then gave up a single, and I think he gave up another hit after that, and then they finally got him out of there. He went 6 2/3. But you know, it's going to take that kind of effort from Nola and Wheeler, you know, for this team to advance. I mean, St. Louis is a real solid team. I don't think they're great by any stretch, but they're solid. They always do things like run the bases well. They field well. You know, they don't beat themselves. They're just a sound group. Goldschmidt, you know, very power hitter. He's got 35 homers. I think Arenado's got like 30. Pujols has 24, and
that's crazy.
Is playing really well for them, especially down the stretch. But I looked at it like this: the Cardinals, I think, won 6 more games than the Phillies did through the season. But they play in a worse division than the Phillies, if you can imagine that. I mean, they're dealing with, I think the last 10 games of the season, they played the Pittsburgh Pirates, who are one of the worst teams in baseball. So they play them like 18, 19 times. They play the Cubs 18 or 19 times, and they play the Reds. And those teams stink.
If there's ever a case for retraction in schedule, it's when you play the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Reds 18 or 19 times. That is not necessary.
Totally agree.
Jesus. What a waste of fucking time.
I know, but I saw the pitching matchups, at least for the first 2 games are out. I think the Phillies, of course, are throwing Wheeler.
Is he going Wainwright?
Game 1.
Wheeler Wainwright?
No, against Quintana was listed and he's listed as their 5th starter. But I looked into his numbers, man. He's really pitched well since coming over from the Pirates. He has had 12 starts since coming over to St. Louis, and he's only given up 14 earned runs in those 12 starts.
Yeah.
And then game 2, Nola's going to pitch against Mikolas. And he's got a whip of 1.03. He's pitched over 200 innings, and he leads the team in strikeouts with 153.
Wow.
So those might be guys, with names that you're like, you don't really say, oh, yeah, I know that guy. Pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good numbers.
And then
then Rangers going 3rd, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Ranger Suarez is scheduled for the Phillies in game 3. And I don't know, if St. Louis puts in Flaherty then. He hasn't pitched in a while. He hasn't pitched since, I think, maybe a week and a half ago. So he's had a lot of extended rest. They got Wainwright in the rotation
in the mix,
still.
Yeah.
So, Yadier Molina's. It seems like he's been there for like 3 decades, that guy, isn't it?
Yeah. That's a great Tom Byrne name. Yadier Molina.
Oh, well, speaking of names, they got a guy that plays outfield. His name is Lars Nootbaar.
Whoa.
Yes, he's from
California. A drummer for the Metallica tribute band, Harry?
That's what I'm saying. Lars. But the last name is Nootbaar.
That's a great name. It's a good first name and a better last name.
Yeah.
Nootbaar. That's an Anthony guy. Yeah, Nootbaarsman. Oh my goodness, that is a great name.
Nootbaar.
Wow. Would you categorize the Phillies getting in as them backing in the way they played over the last couple of weeks?
No, I wouldn't.
It ultimately ended up not being that, but it was trending in that direction.
Yeah, I mean, they were really playing well for a long stretch of the season. But it's good. It's been 11 years since they've been in the playoffs. And you think about that.
That's amazing. That was the longest stretch in Major League Baseball, Harry.
That is a long time ago, man.
Yeah.
I mean, wow.
That's amazing. 11 years. So the last time I got some data on that when they made it in, the last time they were in and they clinched, it was a 1-0 win by Roy Halladay that got them in.
Wow.
That's how long ago. I mean, 11 years is a long time. And did you see Ruben Amaro's tweet when they clinched that night?
I did not.
Oh, he tweeted out, for all those people saying that Aaron Nola is not a big game pitcher, you can kiss my ass.
Oh, is that right?
I was like, wow.
I've actually enjoyed him doing the games.
It's great.
I think he's pretty good.
Yes.
I know he gets a lot of flack, as everybody does on those broadcasts, it seems, except for Fransky. Everybody loves Fransky. He's like bulletproof. And Larry Anderson was the same way. But, they rip on, everybody on the TV side. But I think Ruben does a nice job.
I think Rube is a very likable guy.
Yeah.
It's just people don't like the way it ended because he waited long to make the moves with Utley and Rollins and Hamels and all those trades.
Right.
And look, I think he gets a bad rap, Harry, because he took over a team that won it when Gillick was the GM technically.
Right.
And he made that team better. They didn't win it, but he made the team better.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. I like him too. I've kind of always liked him.
I've always liked Raj as well too. He's a laid back guy. He's a good baseball man. But the thing I found funny about the tweet was, for those that have been telling me he's not a big, well, you're not until you are.
Right.
And up until that point, Nola wasn't. He had faltered on a lot of occasions. He was great in that game.
Yeah.
And he got him in. And you aren't until you are. And that was the case with Nola there for me. So I thought Roger overstepped a little bit, but I appreciated the passion. Yeah. And the fact that he went KMA is beautiful.
Right. Yeah. Anytime you can roll a kiss my ass into a tweet.
Oh, come on.
That's a good day. Yeah. Now, did you see the Monday Night Football game?
Yes.
Did you see the fan? There was a fan that ran on the field. They didn't show it on the broadcast at first, but you ended up finding it. And the linebacker for the Rams just leveled this dude.
Yeah.
I mean, was he trucked
McDaniel?
No, it was the guy that came over from Seattle. He's going to the Hall of Fame probably. Now his name from
I forget too,
but he's
so the guy ran on the
really good player.
Yeah. So the guy runs on the field with one of those smoke flares.
Red pink smoke one, pink or red or something.
And he is a protester. I don't even know what he's protesting. But the security guy can't keep up with him. So
he fell down. One of the guys fell down.
Yeah, he blew out an ACL. It looked like. You see that hack?
I know it didn't look.
He was he got up. He was clutching the knee. I thought they should have brought out the cart for him.
Yeah.
But he makes that turn by the sideline, and the St. Louis Ram players are like, "We've had enough," and they just lowered the boom.
Bobby Wagner,
Wagner,
player. Yeah, he's a great player. He actually led them in tackles that night.
Yes, that was the best one of the game.
Yeah, that was phenomenal.
Yeah, he dropped them. I've had enough of these protesters.
Yeah,
too.
Well, anybody just on the field. I don't even know if it's a protester or not. I mean, just anybody on the field. I mean, come and those players, man, that could be kind of unnerving and scary a little bit. Like there was a guy at the BMW Championship in Wilmington. I don't know if you saw this, that got down onto the green on one of the par threes. There's all this grandstanding around there. It was really built up. Somehow this guy just walks right down onto the greens, right standing off the green, and has like a remote control golf ball on the green. And he's going towards Rory McIlroy with the golf ball. He's controlling it with a little controller. And McIlroy's like sort of taken back, what the F is going on here? And then he realized what it was. And he picked the thing up. He picked the ball up and threw it into the water hazard. And then finally security came down and got the guy. Like, good. He literally was standing like down there where you're inside the ropes.
Yeah.
And he didn't have a credential on. So if you're
how's that happen?
You're like, dude, does this guy have a knife on him? Like, you never know this in this day and age.
Yeah.
So I'm glad the guy trucked him.
Me too. It should be a deterrent. They should show that video at the door. You want to jump on the field? Okay.
Yeah.
You're going to get housed.
Bobby Wagner's gonna
lower the boom. Well, you remember Monica Seles back in the day, Harry got stabbed at a tennis match sitting on the side.
Yeah.
Like, what is going on here?
That was a long time ago too.
Yeah. That's 20 years ago.
At least, I think.
The thing is all the ushers and the security get caught up in watching.
Yeah.
And they forget about the job at hand. And you can just walk down there because they're caught up in the moment of the greatest players in whatever sport it is, performing. Look, it's hard not to do that. I would imagine.
Yeah, but I couldn't imagine like being at a game and having your back to the action the whole time.
Yeah,
because you're like looking up into the stands like the security people have to.
Yeah,
yeah.
Let's tell all the people about Wealth Advisors, Harry, before we get to Michael Bradley.
Wealth Advisory Services, Jason. If you don't know them, you should. Paul, Dave, and their team have over 100 years of first-class service working with all different levels of investors across the country. And there's something more powerful than luck or just coincidence to help bring financial independence within reach. It's called planning. And as professionals dedicated to continuing education and a high standard of ethics, they leave nothing to chance. Wealth Advisory Services coordinate with other trusted professionals to ensure seamless management of your assets with services that range from portfolio management, insurance, tax, estate, retirement planning, and beyond. Located in Bucks County, PA, and down the shore at Cape May, New Jersey, wealthadvisoryservices.com, a personalized approach to managing your wealth.
The funny thing is, all the security at these events, like, it's got to tighten up and it's got to get better. And like you said, you're watching the crowd and not watching the event.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is weird. Like, how do you not turn around at an Eagle game when you're working section whatever?
Well, what's it like at the Flyer games? Because, I mean, you're down there right at the side of the rink.
Yeah, well, I move around. I go press box for the first. I go down Zamboni entrance during the regular season for the second.
I like that. I like that area.
Yeah, that's your spot.
You and I hung out there one night for Winnipeg.
Yeah, you wanted to see the Patrick Laine. You couldn't have gotten what you wanted better than the night it was delivered to you and when it was delivered. So you wanted to see the Patrick Laine release.
Right.
So we're down there. I think it was a 1-1 game at the time, and we're down at the Zamboni entrance in the second. Or no, I guess it was the third period because they were shooting at that end, the Winnipeg Jets. Mm-hmm. And Winnipeg goes on the power play. And Laine lines up in that same spot where Ovechkin lines up on the left side top of the circle, right where the Zamboni entrance glass is that we're standing at. And somebody, maybe it was Blake Wheeler, wired him a perfect pass in his wheelhouse, and no wind up, no coil. He just snapped a bomb, bar down. And I mean, the whole building was like, oof, right? I turn around to you and you go, I saw what I came to see. I'm out of here.
I left.
You were gone. The puck hadn't even hit the ice yet after the goal, and you were in the car.
It was out. That was great.
But it was like seeing the greatest athletes in the world, whether it's golf and them hit some of these shots, like we don't realize that this ball's half buried, feet are below, the ball, like seeing guys hit this kind of shit and just how skilled they are, and seeing like a shot like that, how quick he got it off. Just like, oh my God.
Especially from that vantage point, it's different if you're up in the second level or whatever, but being down there, being fortunate enough to be down there, that was really awesome.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Well, speaking of awesome, let's get to our guest here because he comes by request. The only thing we need now, Harry, for requests is for us to go full-blown slacker mentality, and people can determine all the talking points of the podcast by request.
Okay.
So we literally have to do no work.
Like those guys that solicit questions on Twitter for their upcoming pod. I see that.
I do it all the time for the Flyers.
Oh, you do?
Oh, absolutely. In other words, I should just put in the tweet, I got nothing. Give me something. Right?
Like I used to say back in the day to the program director on like a Wednesday in the middle of July, I got nothing today.
Yeah, I got nothing because there is nothing.
There is nothing.
Yeah, that was when Mikey Misko, we'll take your calls on anything today. Open phone Friday.
Well, on a general knowledge Wednesday, that would have been.
Oh, that was
on a Wednesday.
Built because there was nothing happening.
Exactly.
And even if something was happening, general knowledge got the nod over whatever was happening. But let's get to our guest right now. He joins us. He's working at Philly Mag. Mm-hmm. He's a professor at Villanova, and he's got other gigs as well.
Mainline Times, I think he writes for. He'll write for anybody.
All right, here he is. He joins us right now. It is Michael Bradley by request. He said he's a professor at Villanova. He writes at Philly Mag, and he's a handsome guy. So let's just let it be known that he wrote his own intro.
Hey, that's
fake news. You guys couldn't resist saying that.
He's one of our favorites, and he's on this show by request. We were getting requests from listeners and viewers that wanted more Michael Bradley, so we figured we'd wait until a couple of weeks in when the college football season started to heat up.
It couldn't have been my wife making that request because she wants less Michael Bradley.
Less is more.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
Oh man, how you been?
I'm great. Heading towards fall break. My son's getting married in a week, and everything's good.
Oh wow.
How old is your son?
30.
Wow.
About time.
Man. He had a lot of fun in his 20s. Let me put it that way.
Good.
Dude, you got to do that.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's not ending now.
I tell my students that all the time. They get, we're gonna leave college. I said, you're gonna love your 20s. It's a lot of fun.
Get a little money.
Like my 40s.
Yeah. I love my 60s. So
yeah.
What are your thoughts so far of the college season? It feels awesome that it's back to normal.
It is without a doubt, and we don't have to worry about is this game going to be played, et cetera. Mm-hmm. So that's the first thing. The weird thing about this is the season really to this point, while it's had some good games, has lacked drama. Because right now it's 4 teams. It's you look and you say Clemson, Ohio State, Georgia, and Alabama, not in that order, are I would imagine 3 of them are going to play in the college football playoff. Then does Michigan get in? Does Oklahoma State go undefeated? Could possibly UCLA or USC do it? But after that, it's nothing. And all the people that always used to say, oh, the college football playoff is great because every game matters are wrong. With only 4 teams, games stop mattering once a team loses a game or two. So I know that we're very top heavy. I'm just hoping some other teams keep winning so that we have a little more drama.
Well, I think that's what they mean, though, when they say every game counts, because if you do lose, you're screwed. It's like every game, every week, it's like you got to win.
Yeah, but the thing is, then if you have say you have all 5 Power 5 conferences have their winners in there. Mm-hmm. The Pac-12 season matters all the way through because those games will produce a team that wins the conference and then goes to the playoff. Right. More teams play more meaningful games when more teams are involved. It's just like baseball. I mean, the Phillies games wouldn't have mattered at all if they hadn't, if they weren't a third wild card team.
Now, you named some of the usual suspects a minute or so ago. But out of those teams, I don't think there's a dominant team because I could poke holes in every one of those squads.
Yeah, I mean, Alabama, you would think if Young is healthy, will be very difficult to deal with. Georgia, they almost lost to Missouri.
I know.
Missouri's not a good team. And everybody, it's so tough to play at Missouri. Come on. They should have stomped them. Ohio State is scary, but it gives up a lot of points. And then a nice job by Ryan Day showing how classy he is by running a fake punt up 42 on Rutgers last week. That's stay classy, Buckeyes. Michigan's got talent, but I don't know if they can beat Ohio State. Oklahoma State, the benefit it has is that Oklahoma stinks this year.
Yeah.
And other than TCU, it doesn't look like, and don't give me Kansas and Kansas State, it doesn't look like the Big 12 is that good. So you're right. There's no team. If once we get the 4, it's going to be exciting to see who wins because I think it's up for grabs. But, I don't think there's a lot of other teams that could get into that 4.
What are you thinking on Tennessee and USC?
USC's good and USC's well coached, and the Pac-12 is not so great. Oregon is better than, they stumbled early, but I think they're good. The one thing about the Pac-12, just about every team loses a game in the middle of the season. You go, what, Stanford? Stanford beat them? And I think that's what'll kill the Pac-12 teams. I can't believe Chip Kelly's got his team at 5-0.
Mm-hmm.
They're playing pretty good football.
Well, his quarterback's been there since 1998.
And they got Zach Charbonnet, who transferred
from Michigan,
who's a really good back. So, USC, UCLA, pretty good. Oklahoma State, as I said, we'll have to see what happens when they play TCU. And then I don't know about the rest of the SEC. Tennessee's good. Mississippi's good. They just beat Kentucky. I think that they have a shot, but I don't know if they're as good as Georgia or Alabama.
How good is the Big Ten? Because I look at, the top teams. Right. That's what I'm saying. Michigan State. What is happening to them?
I don't know, but I like it.
Of course you do. And Iowa, too.
Iowa started last year with the offense. If you talk to people in Iowa City, they hate Kirk Ferentz's son, who is the offensive coordinator. That offense is horrific.
Mm-hmm.
So they can't play any offense at all, and you can't pitch a shutout every game. The Big Ten West has 6 teams that are 1-1 and 1 team that's 0-2.
Wow. And 2 fired coaches.
Yes. Everybody could win it and everybody could lose it. Michigan State is rotten. Their defense is rotten. And it's funny, of all people, Tom Izzo said to me during the offseason, they got lucky last year with Kenneth Walker. Mm-hmm. They brought in those 14 transfers, and only one of them, Walker, really did anything.
Right.
And they thought they could replicate that model. Oh, let's go get a running back from Wisconsin who's not happy, and he'll rush for 2,000 yards. Well, that's not happening. And they haven't played defense since D'Antonio left. Mm-hmm. So I hope Michigan hangs 70 on them.
Wow. Stay classy.
I may even root for Ohio State this weekend.
Is that right?
Yeah, because I hate Michigan State right now. I mean, so much because Tuck coming. Mel Tucker a $95 million deal. He stinks.
Will you lay 26.5 points?
Every one of them.
All right.
So Michigan goes to Indiana this week. Then they get Penn State at the Big House the following week. Penn State 5-0. Is this where James Franklin starts to become a curse word next week in Michigan?
He's been a curse word for a long time, ever since he ran up the score several years ago on poor young Brady.
He's a curse word in State College.
Yeah, I know he is.
Exactly.
He was a curse word in where Vanderbilt was too. They didn't like him in Nashville. So he's let's face it, he's an abrasive guy, but having that team 5-0 now, near miss against Purdue. They didn't look great last week against the Northwestern team that isn't too good. And, I still think Northwestern should have kicked a field goal when it had the ball on 4th down there instead of going for it. 17-10 is a lot easier to deal with than 17-7. That said, 5-0 is 5-0. So if Michigan gets past Indiana, which, they've had trouble in doing in Bloomington, that's going to be a heck of a game. Fox snapped that baby right up and put it on its big noon broadcast.
How about that backfield for Penn State? That Berks County kid's pretty good. Singleton.
Mm-hmm. See the freshman?
Yeah, they're both freshmen.
He's been recruiting really well. That's the one thing you can say about Franklin. This year's class is more highly rated than Michigan's was. And what he's already got set for next year is pretty good. So, the thing about freshman backs is they got a lot of talent, but what happens in the fourth quarter in a big game on the road? Do they hold on to the ball?
Well, it's funny. Singleton laid it on the carpet early in the game last week, and he took him out for a while.
Well, and that's the thing. Michigan had a running back the week before against Maryland when Donovan Edwards wasn't able to play. They brought a freshman in, gave him the ball on 3rd down. He fumbled. It's like Paulie. You ain't going to see him no more. So you've got a freshman. Do they pick up the blitz, right? Ooh, I forgot about the blitz package. So that's a thing with freshman backs. But those guys look talented. They're both 4 stars. They got some skill.
Yeah, the mistakes they make are catastrophic mistakes.
Yeah,
that's the problem with the freshmen.
2 yards instead of 3. It's they fumble the ball on the 21-yard line.
Yeah. What's your thoughts? Just a few games in on the Brian Kelly era down there with his family in LSU.
I miss Coach O. Go Tigers. I always used to say you had to have closed captioning on any of his interviews, like the Real Housewives. When they start yelling at each other, you got to put captions down there. But LSU has always been second best, except for when Saban was there and when in a little while when Les Piles was there and they were winning. Second best behind Alabama on the big picture. So to me, there's talent galore. I don't know. Is Kelly a great coach? That's the question. Is Kelly a great coach? I don't know. I used to like LSU. Now I don't because you can't stand him.
I love smug.
He's got what is known as a Backpfeiffer-Gesicht, which is a German word for a face that is in need of a punch.
Yes. Yeah. And it's never more apparent than when he's losing.
Yes.
I love when the camera puts him on and he's got that face on and his arms are crossed. Oh, it's awesome.
He's got resting dickhead face.
Yeah. Everybody's fault but his.
Yes.
It's like resting bitch face.
Right.
Precisely.
All right, let's stay in the SEC because there's some issues with a very high-paid coach and a program with a lot of money and a lot of hype in College Station. What the hell is going on with Jimbo Fisher?
I don't know, but they gave him a ton of money. I don't know what the buyout situation is, but it's big, I'm sure. He's been recruiting well. Now you got to remember this class that he just brought in is all freshmen, and as much as they are 5 stars, they're not always ready to play. But the last few years, he's brought in a lot of talent. He doesn't have a quarterback.
No. How can you not have a quarterback in the state of Texas?
I don't know. You just go to Austin Westlake and take the starter every year.
Right.
It's like, what is the matter with you?
There literally is a quarterback tree down there.
Yeah.
Yes. Right. I think it's a big cypress tree in the middle of the state. You just walk and you pull one down.
Right.
I don't know how he doesn't have one. And now in a year or so, he's got Texas coming in. And so Texas is going to say to any kid, wait, do you want to go to College Station?
Yeah. Well, they got Arch Manning too.
Yeah. Or do you want to come to Austin? Where do you want to be?
Yeah.
He picking a fight with Nick Saban's never a good idea. I got a feeling that if Young can play Saturday.
Oh, they're going to put 60 on him.
Yeah. They're going to put a pile on him.
Yeah.
And then Nick will stand on the sidelines fourth quarter waving to him while throwing bombs.
How you like that, Jimbo? All right.
You guys know who Joey Molinaro is? The guy on Twitter?
No.
Follow him. He does a tremendous saving.
Oh, really?
He does. Oh my God. It's unreal.
Hold on.
I think I've seen this.
Joey Molinaro.
He does a great Joey Molinaro. I think it's Mulini.
Sounds like a character in The Sopranos.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's Joey Moles. Come on now.
It's Moltisanti's second cousin, Harry.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah, Saban's. So did you see the interview the other day with him? He gets interviewed, and they ask him about his team, and then he gets all indignant. He's like, "Let me tell you about the team. You didn't ask about the team." That was literally the fucking question.
Yeah, he gets so agitated, but it
I
makes
love it.
such good theater. That's the thing. Belichick
He is.
No,
He's good copy.
Nothing to report. Next question.
Right.
But Saban, it's like, I told you before, you got to stay away from the rat poison. Beautiful stuff.
He loves to scold the media to send messages to his team.
Oh, without a doubt.
Which is brilliant.
And by the way, when he scolded Jimbo Fisher, he was sending a message to the Alabama business community to say, how are they have this thing set up, this consortium or whatever the heck it's called, and I don't have one of my own. Let's get it together, fellas. Open up the wallets.
Exactly.
But let's jump to the NFL real quick. Eagles, the only undefeated team in the NFL. What have you seen so far out of Hurts? Are you a full-blown believer that they're the class of the NFC?
Great leader, hard worker, improving, tremendous runner. Had some throws early against Jacksonville that were late. I'm hoping that this is just a continued maturation of a young quarterback and not a situation where he's going to have trouble making the decisions and pulling the trigger fast enough, because he's not going to be able to run forever. And the worst thing about when he was at Alabama, he was a running back.
Mm-hmm.
I had an SEC defensive coordinator who's now at another school say to me, we didn't care about him as a passer. All we did was put our best athlete on him as a spy. And every time he ran, we said, go get him. So the problem in the NFL is the more you run, the more you get hit. And those guys love it. When I used to do the Eagles pregame show, Trotter was like, we'd love to see quarterbacks out in the open.
Oh, yeah. Free shot.
Hit them as hard as we could. But that said, their first halves have been great.
Mm-hmm.
They have been really prepared. This week's a big test. I think people think, the Cardinals, you got to go there. Murray's tough because he runs all over the place. Are you going to be able to put enough pressure on him so that your defensive backfield isn't at risk? I haven't seen a spread. Harry, maybe you have.
The Eagles were like a 6-point favorite, I
really?
think, at start. Wow. Yeah. I think it's down now to 5.5 or 5.
Still, that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
There's a lot of love for them. And it's all warranted. Now, their special teams haven't been great. Is a kicker going to be able to play this week? Can the punter get any better? The return guys out there getting his brains knocked in every time. Maybe you call a fair catch every now and then, son. That's not a bad idea. But in an NFL that right now, and especially in NFC, who's good?
Yeah, I still think Tampa's good.
I don't know. Tommy's getting divorced. He could be upset.
Yeah. Green Bay, if Green Bay gets Odell Beckham Jr., look out.
Yeah, you're right.
Their defense is pretty good.
And you better believe Aaron Rodgers is in there saying you better sign him.
Oh, he has to be. He might, go in there, take a little peyote or something and go in there and speak with the general manager.
Dude.
So what is up with that? Well, all of a sudden now he's like a hippie or something.
He's been a strange dude for a while. We found out 5 years ago that his family doesn't talk to him.
Right. Which is odd.
What's that?
It's very odd.
The more we learn, the odder he gets.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's almost as if he revels in it.
Yeah.
Every so often he throws something else out that's weird.
Right.
And it's, hey, you like that? You've come to deal with the peyote? Here's something else.
Yeah.
I'm actually reincarnated. I was Nicholas I, Tsar of Russia. Something. Who knows what's next with this guy?
And I know it wasn't peyote. It was like this ayahuasca or whatever it is. But anyway, and all the women that he's with eventually leave him.
Well, that's true. And I think after a while they say, all right, the good looks and the money are enough, but
you're fucking crazy.
You're weird, right?
I wanted to go back to college for one because I never asked you. I want
to go back to college too.
Well, yeah. Well, you do. Every week you're in college.
I'd give a limb to go back.
You teach. I never asked you about your thoughts on this show, at least, of the expanded playoff.
Delighted.
Okay.
I've been in favor of an expanded. I've been in favor of an 8-team playoff since the 80s, and I've been in favor of a 12-team playoff since they started talking about it. I want all 5 teams in. I want to have the at-large teams. I'm just trying to imagine that first weekend.
Mm-hmm.
You got 4 first-round games on campus. Friday night, noon, 4, and 8. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That would be amazing. And then the second week, 4 more great games.
Yeah, it doesn't get
So
better.
to me, it's more great college football. It makes every league matter. You throw a gang of 5 team in there,
right?
The best one around. Let them get their brains beaten in already, early on, or pull an upset, more interest, etc. But I mean, the 5-12 game, do the math all the way down the line. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I agree with you. I know a lot of people don't agree with us. They think, that it's already so lopsided that it's just going to be more lopsided games. But, I don't know. I can bet on them. That's all, that's all I know.
And you sit down and watch them.
Yeah.
Every game is huge. As you said, you can bet them. And it's another week of anticipate because the season just comes to a real hard close that first weekend in December with the conference championship games. I know you have the Army-Navy game the next week, but then you got to wait a month,
3 weeks. Yeah.
Back into games that matter. I mean, look, I'll watch the Bahamas Bowl. You know me. I watch every damn bowl game.
Me too.
But none of them matter except for the betting of it.
Right.
But then you got 2 more weeks of games that matter before Christmas and then the January 1st stuff. I think it's perfect.
Well, it's the only major sport that never gave me enough.
Mm-hmm. Right. Exactly. By the time the baseball season's over, you're like, okay.
Jesus, enough.
Even the NFL.
Yep.
Even the NFL, when you get into February, it's time for pitchers and catchers to report. Basketball, please. Hockey, unless let's get a Canadian.
Don't say anything bad about hockey on this show.
I'm aware.
Find yourself on the persona non grata list quick around here.
Playoff hockey, eh? You pull on a sweater for the organization and you're a good guy in a dress.
It doesn't start until April.
But college football, as you said, Jason, that's a perfect way to put it. I've never heard it put that way. You leave me wanting more.
Yeah.
Yep. Every year.
Every freaking year. You talk about those 3 weeks of nothing going on between the championships and the bowls. Usually that's when coaches change jobs, but we've already got a half a dozen open vacancies right now. What would you think is the best job that's open right now? Wisconsin?
I think it's Wisconsin. It's not Nebraska. See,
No.
Here's the thing that people don't realize about Nebraska. Tom Osborne could do 3 things. One, he recruited junior college kids by the bunch. Remember Lawrence Phillips? That didn't work out so well, but the guy was talented as hell. 2, he could recruit the East. Irving Fryer and Mike Rozier went from Camden to Nebraska.
Right.
That ain't happening anymore. And 3rd, he would take a 6'4", 225-pound kid from South Dakota, feed him and give him steroids for 3 years and turn him into Dean Steinkuhler. So they don't do that anymore. So I don't think, and here's the in-home talent in Nebraska, right? We're going to own the state of Nebraska in recruiting. Yeah, you get one kid who's probably a walk-on anywhere else. So Nebraska's not a great job. Wisconsin is, but Wisconsin's cheap. That's why Brett Bielema left there to begin with. They weren't paying the assistants enough. He wanted to go to Arkansas and have a bigger pool for assistant coaches.
Okay.
So we'll see who else comes open. But right now, I'd say it's Wisconsin.
Yeah, the other one, Georgia Tech, Arizona State. Those are tough jobs.
Georgia Tech is tough because you got to take real classes there,
right?
And then Arizona State is headed for probation. Plus, that's always been such a bandit program. You can tell by the people they hire there that nobody with a real sterling reputation is going to say, "Sure, let's go to Arizona State and run that disaster."
Right.
Yep. That was ugly the way that whole thing played out too.
Yeah, that was. I mean, and I don't know why you hire Herm Edwards. I mean, that was a ridiculous decision.
But that was like a radio firing, wasn't it? Like,
yeah,
they made him in the end zone. It'd be like Nahagian just coming in the studio during one of the breaks and saying, "You're gone."
Yep. Pack your shit.
Michael, Tony Bruno is a radio personality. You are a radio host.
Unreal.
Thanks, Matt. Love you.
Thanks for the vote of confidence.
Exactly.
You're the one that put me on the schedule.
Exactly. No, that was the previous guy.
All right, now tell the people where they can find you. I know you do a lot of stuff with Philly Mag. Where else?
You can go this month's issue of Philly Mag, and you can get it online. Is an article about sports gambling in 21 to 30-year-olds, and the headline, if you want to search for it, it's "Will Sports Betting Change What It Means to Be a Fan in Philly?" It's not behind a paywall. You can get it. I write for Mainline today. I write for anybody that'll let me write. Right now I'm doing NB. I'm writing for the Minnesota Timberwolves yearbook. How's that?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Jeez. They have a yearbook?
And college basketball stuff's coming out. So I got a ton of stuff in Blue Ribbon. a Blue Ribbon yearbook. I previewed a bunch of teams, and I've got a bunch of stuff in Lindy's college basketball yearbook that is out on your newsstands right now. And they like me so much with Lindy's is they gave me credit for an article that I didn't even write.
Wow, it's beautiful. Did they pay you for the article you didn't write?
What's that?
Did they pay you for the article you didn't write?
They did. I hope. I don't know, but I don't think they did.
Well, speaking of that, how good is Villanova and Temple this year? I think Temple's going to be much improved.
Temple is much improved. I like what Aaron McKee's doing there, and he's got some. A lot of it is how do these transfers in the front court work out? They need some of those big guys to play well. I previewed them for Blue Ribbon, and he's got. He wanted to bring in everybody who was 6'6" tall. It's like the whole roster for a while was that, but he found that he needed a few taller guys. But I think they're good. I think that their point guard is going to get better.
Mm-hmm.
The fact
Miller.
that the guard, who is it, Wyatt who's back, or who's the guard who's back who was injured?
The kid who came from Butler. Yeah, he was a transfer from Butler. His name escapes me at this point.
They'll score more points. Nova's going to be interesting because I can't see. I'm so much on football now. I haven't gone basketball yet. Justin Moore. I don't see anybody coming back from an Achilles tendon in 9 or 10 months. I mean, it's usually a year. Now I know he's young and blah blah blah. I hope he does. If he's back and he's okay, then they can win the Big East. But they really need Cam Whitmore, this freshman, to step in right away and contribute. He's not going to score 15 a game, but they need him in double figures and as a weapon, so the teams just can't focus on Caleb Daniels and Slater will be better, but they need a third offensive option.
It's Khalif Battle.
Battle.
Yeah.
And look, I think Slater's going to be really good. I think he'll be a lot better than he's getting better. I think Daniels will be a lot of fun to watch, but they need Whitmore and they need Dixon to be a real contributor inside. And it's about time that Trey Patterson, who came in a couple Januaries ago as a freshman just to practice and was a highly regarded recruit, he has to be able to contribute as well. And he hasn't done a lot to this point.
Right. Temple plays Villanova really early.
Yeah. Well, Villanova gets all its Big Five games out of the way with early.
Yeah.
And hey, anybody who is upset about that, they're playing them. So I don't want to hear it.
Right.
What I can't wait to see is that Big Five doubleheader on November 30th.
At the Palestra.
That's going to be a lot
Temple
of
LaSalle in that game, right? What's the other game?
It's Penn St. Joe's.
Wow.
Yeah, so I mean it's only the 7th time I think all four Big Five teams have played at the Palestra, and that's a 6:00 and an 8:30. I mean, it's a perfect thing. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
I'll be there.
I will too.
All right, very good.
I won't.
Now he'll be doing
the
Coyotes Flyers game.
The Flyers play the Blue Jackets that night.
Exactly.
The Flyers are already getting 2.5 pucks.
Johnny Hockey will be in town. Hey, Michael, thanks for doing this, man. We got to do it again.
Yeah,
it was my pleasure. I'm here to please the fans.
All right, read him in Philly Mag too. I'm gonna tweet that article out.
Please do,
since it's about gambling and I'm quoted in it.
Yeah, so I mean, how can it be bad?
Exactly.
There he is. So long, suckers.
And there he is, Michael Bradley. We fulfill a young listener's dreams, and he gets his request heard here on the OGs podcast. Let's tell everybody about Fudge Kitchen.
Yeah, but could you imagine having him as a professor?
No.
Oh, I think it would be awesome. I'd be like, I love this Professor Bradley's class. I can't wait to go.
Does he come with the same alacrity every day to class that he does to any?
I guarantee he does. Mm-hmm. And I bet he brings a packed lunch.
Yeah.
And he sits up there, his brown paper bag, he recycles and eats his turkey sandwich. But he might have some fudge every once in a while as a treat, because the official sponsor for Not For Long Media and OGs is the original Fudge Kitchen. That's a staple of the Jersey Shore. 6 locations: Cape May, Wildwood, Stone Harbor, and Ocean City. The original Fudge Kitchen makes all of their fudge in the store, and that guarantees a delicious product. So stop by and let them know that N4L sent you. And if you're not able to visit in person, it's not a problem, because they ship across the USA. Be sure to check them out at fudgekitchens.com. The original Fudge Kitchen, shipping fudge and sweet treats across the country. Now, that was a potential spam. Don't you love that?
Oh, yeah. I like the fact that it tells us now, though.
Yeah, I do too. But the thing is it doesn't give me an option to just end the call on some of them. Like, I have to let it ring until it's done.
To ring out. Yeah, I hear you. I have that blocker on, but sometimes you get some that come through. but I'm getting less and less nowadays, which is a good thing.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Now the Eagles have a big game this week.
Yeah, do they go to 5-0? So they're the only undefeated team, Harry, because Miami goes down last week.
Yeah.
Do they move it to 5-0?
I don't know that they win. I don't think they're going to cover though.
Okay.
It opens at 6. It's now down to 5. I think this is going to be a close game.
Yeah.
And I just saw a tweet before we recorded today that from John McMullen, who does a great job covering the Birds, that he says Mailata, Elliott, and Maddox are probably not going to play. They got some new kicker in there.
Yeah.
Cameron Dicker, the kicker.
Wow.
Yeah, how about that?
Dicker the kicker.
Dicker the kicker from the University of Texas.
Wow.
Is apparently going to kick on Sunday. Now, Mailata, that's a pretty big loss. And, Maddox is a good quality player. Sure. But I think Arizona, that quarterback can be a problem.
He's always buzzing around. He reminds me of a more slippery Russell Wilson.
And he's smaller too. He's really small.
He's like a water bug that you're trying to catch.
He really is.
It's unbelievable, right?
Yeah.
I just can't wait for, so they got the Arizona game this week on the road. Then they come back home and it's the Cowboy. It's Cowboy week.
Oh, man.
Let's get Cowboy Dave on the line. Anthony's going to be freaking out.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to find his old calendar from 2002. What did we do on Cowboy Week that week? Oh, it's the same thing we do every week on Cowboy Week.
Oh,
God.
That's the gift that keeps on giving.
Jesus Christ. And when there's nothing going on in the summer, you talk about the Cowboy fans.
Right. Right.
Oh, Jesus Christ. We'll see what happens over the next week when we come back next week, Harry, if the Phillies are still playing baseball.
Do
you have a prediction on that series?
No, I don't. I'm going to root for the Phillies, but they can win it. I mean, they can definitely win it.
Yeah.
That series, the Mets and Padres, going to be interesting to see, what pitchers, I haven't looked at the rotations yet, if they're going in DeGrom and Scherzer right out of the gate, but it'll be interesting to see if they get through that, like how they have to set up their staff for the next series.
Well, if the Phillies win, they get the Braves, correct?
I think they get the Braves. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Dodgers would play the winner of the Mets Padres.
Boy, that's a lot of travel.
Yeah.
If it's the Mets.
I know.
Round 2 going bi-coastal already.
Yeah.
Obviously for the Padres, that's not a big deal, San Diego, LA, but geez, that's a lot of travel. For the Phillies, that's pretty ideal to have this series right out of the gate with St. Louis, not bad travel, and then Atlanta, not bad travel.
Well, you stay in the same time zone there.
Yeah.
St. Louis is only 1 hour.
Yeah. So, all right, let's, if you're going to need that extra hour, you're going to need some sleep. So we'll tell the people about Som Sleep.
You got to get Som. Having trouble getting enough sleep at night? Well, Som Sleep has you covered. Scientifically advanced Som Stack includes ingredients that are naturally found in your body, like magnesium and melatonin. Sleep is the best form of recovery, and it has helped NFL founder and NFL tight end Colin Thompson take his game to the next level. It's simple. All you got to do is drink one serving just 30 minutes before bed, and your body will naturally calm itself down. Other sleep supplements, they're going to leave you groggy in the morning, but not Som Sleep. Wake up feeling refreshed and ready to conquer the day. Check them out at getsom.com. Use the code GS for 10% off your order.
Excellent work, Harry, on the reads on this podcast, episode 37 of the Odd G's podcast. We'll be back next week, everybody. Leave us a 5-star rating and review. Maybe we'll tap into some reviews again next week on the program.
Yeah, and request a guest.
Yes, get those requested at Harry Mays TU, at Jason Mert, at Odd G's Pod. We'll be back next week. We'll talk to you then, everybody. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.